Right now, things feel, well, uncertain, don't they? The economy's
Mhm.
doing something, and you're probably seeing all sorts of messages online.
Oh, definitely. Some saying panic, others saying, now's the time to get rich.
Exactly that. Especially on YouTube, there's this whole idea floating around that a recession could actually be a massive opportunity.
It's a strange thought, isn't it? Almost contradictory when so many are struggling.
Yeah.
But it does make you ask,
Hmm.
what are the basic money mistakes people make, no matter what the economy's doing?
Yeah, precisely. And that's what we're digging into today. We've been looking at excerpts from this YouTube video by Mark Tilbury. It's called I Got Rick CH When I Stopped Doing These 8 Things.
Okay.
And our mission really is to unpack what this source says are the key money traps to avoid. The claim is if you sidestep these, you could actually improve your finances even now.
Right. The source says the opportunity for people who get this is absolutely insane, was the quote.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So we're not looking for some kind of secret get-rich-quick scheme here.
No, it sounds more like the source is focused on the common ways people, shoot themselves in the foot financially. How to avoid those basic errors, especially when things feel shaky.
Exactly. Foundational stuff. So let's jump into these 8 traps the source highlights. First up, being scared to take risks.
Which makes sense, right? When everything feels unstable, your instinct is to play it safe.
Totally.
But the source argues, look, you should try to minimize risk, do your homework, analyze things carefully. But avoiding risk altogether just out of fear, that's presented as a trap itself.
Because opportunity often involves some level of risk.
Exactly. You can't eliminate it completely. And what stood out to me was the focus on age.
Oh yeah, the 20 to 50 window.
The source calls it a huge tipping point.
Mm.
Like the financial choices you make then, they have these massive ripple effects.
Not just for you, but family, kids, your future self. It all compounds.
Right. It frames that period as potentially setting your whole long-term financial path. And there's that
What
anecdote.
about the millionaires?
Yeah, apparently many regret not being bolder, not taking those calculated risks. The whole what could have been idea weighs on them if fear held them back too much.
So the message isn't be reckless. It's more, don't let fear paralyze you from making smart, strategic moves.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Which leads pretty naturally into the second trap the source identified,
Investing in things you don't understand.
called the #1 rule of investing in the source. But apparently it's one people often ignore, especially in a crisis when they feel pressured or see others making claims.
Yeah, it mentions how easy it is now with all the online info. You watch a quick video on stocks or crypto or whatever.
And suddenly feel like an expert ready to throw money at.
Exactly. The source apparently gets messages like that all the time.
And the point is, that's often based on just one person's take, or a really superficial grasp. Minimizing risk means digging deeper. Multiple sources, really understanding the mechanics, the actual risks involved.
There's a story in the source, a personal one, that hammers this home. Years ago, early 20s, he nearly put $50,000 into some investment group, but he stopped
Why?
because he admitted he didn't really understand how they were generating returns.
Oh, good instinct.
Turned out they were using heavy leverage, margin trading, basically, borrowing money to trade at like 6 times their actual capital.
Wow, so if it went wrong?
It wouldn't just be his $50K gone. He calculated he would have lost over $300,000 because of the leverage.
Oof. That's a huge difference, and a lesson learned without the painful price tag.
Right. It just highlights that really understanding the nuts and bolts, not just the surface story, is critical before you invest.
Absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, so trap #3. This one felt backwards at first glance.
I'm not spending enough. Yeah, how does that work?
Well, we're always told to save, cut back, right?
Yeah.
Especially now. But the source argues that being too frugal, to the point where you compromise on essential quality, that can actually cost you more down the line.
Okay, so it's not saying don't save money on takeaways or groceries.
No, that's fine. It's about cutting corners on things where quality really matters. Things that could be dangerous or just end up being more expensive later.
Like the car repair example.
Exactly. You go for the absolute cheapest mechanic. Maybe you save a bit up front, but the source warns you might get shoddy work. Maybe they miss something important, cut corners.
Or even lie about what they fixed.
Yeah, and then you're back there again for more repairs, or worse, something fails and causes a bigger problem, even an accident. That cheap fix ends up costing way more.
Plus, the point about supporting good businesses so they're still around when you need them.
A pragmatic angle, yeah. So spending a bit more for reliability or quality can actually be the cheaper option long term.
That makes sense. Okay, trap number 4. Taking your job for granted.
This one feels very relevant right now, with worries about job losses, businesses struggling.
Definitely. Having that steady paycheck, that's your foundation, right? The source really emphasizes that.
And it pushes back against that whole silent quitting trend, doing the bare minimum.
Why is that seen as a trap?
Because, the argument goes, when times get tough, businesses have to make hard choices. Who do they keep?
The indispensable ones.
Right. The ones who go the extra mile, who are reliable, who actively add value, they're less likely to be seen as expendable when cuts need to be made.
So it's about making yourself valuable, especially when the company itself might be under pressure.
Yeah, proving your worth. There's another anecdote here, too,
Okay.
about a former staff member. Complained a lot,
Mm.
left for a job that seemed better, more pay, more perks.
The classic grass is greener scenario.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't hit the targets, hated parts of the new job like travel, and eventually asked for their old job back. It wasn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So the insight is, don't underestimate the value of a solid position you already have. Invest in it.
Good point. Which brings us to trap 5. Payday loans.
Yeah, the source doesn't mince words here, calls the companies predators.
Ouch. Targeting people who are struggling.
Exactly, with constant advertising.
Mm.
And taking one out is framed as incredibly damaging.
Yes.
Well, first, it apparently wrecks your credit score. Makes it really hard, maybe impossible, to get approved for big things later, like a mortgage or even a car loan.
Right. And the interest rates.
Described as sky high. You borrow a little, but end up paying back way, way more. It's a debt trap.
So the preventative measure suggested is...
Just basic budgeting.
Yeah.
Tracking your spending really carefully so you don't end up in a situation so desperate that those loans even look tempting.
Avoid the desperation in the first place. Okay.
Yeah.
Trap 6. Not having a side hustle.
This is about income streams. Your job is the foundation, sure, but if you only have that one,
And something happens to it, like a recession layoff.
your whole financial world can collapse.
Mhm.
A side hustle adds another layer, another stream of income.
So it's not necessarily about getting rich quick with it.
Not primarily, no. It's about resilience. If you lose the main job, that side income can, keep the lights on, pay essential bills, stop you falling into bad debt while you regroup.
The source used a personal example here, right?
Yeah, from his early days. Main job just covered survival. So he always had side gigs. Like he taught people how to fly model helicopters, something he knew well.
Yeah.
And that side income covered his living costs, which meant his entire salary from his main job could be saved and invested into starting his own business.
Wow, that's powerful. But some might say, how can I start a side hustle in a recession?
He addresses that, points to online stuff that's actually booming, selling digital products, affiliate marketing,
What's affiliate marketing again?
basically promoting other people's products online and getting a commission if someone buys through your link.
Ah, right.
And the argument is people often turn more to online entertainment and information during tough times, so there's opportunity there.
So the insight is, don't just retreat into entertainment yourself. Use this time to hustle, maybe leverage those online trends.
Yeah, double down is
Uh-huh.
the phrase used, I think. Okay, trap number 7, not living within your means.
This feels related to the payday loan trap, maybe? Getting stretched too thin?
Definitely connected. The source observes that after good economic times, people get used to a certain lifestyle. Maybe spending keeps creeping up.
Using credit cards more, spending more than they actually earn.
Right. Buying flashy things like expensive cars they can't really afford based just on their income. When things slow down economically, that lack of margin becomes a huge problem.
So living within or even below your means becomes crucial then.
Absolutely critical for stability.
Yeah.
The advice is pretty standard, but important. Make a budget, know where your money's going, and cut the non-essential stuff.
Freeing up cash for saving, investing, focusing on long-term security.
Exactly. And the source throws out a really sharp question here.
Which is?
Is having the latest car, the newest clothes, the biggest house right now, is that worth giving up your future hopes and dreams for?
Put things in perspective. Okay, final one. Trap number 8. Get rich quick schemes.
Ah, the classic lure, especially online, right? Courses promising the moon.
Yeah, the source points out that often the marketers selling these dreams are the main ones getting rich.
And it clarifies. The ideas themselves, like Amazon FBA, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, they can be legitimate businesses.
But the trap is how they're sold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Packaged to look incredibly easy, targeting people without much experience, selling the dream lifestyle.
With pictures of Lamborghinis and stuff.
You got it. And the simple logic check offered is, If it was that easy and profitable, why are they selling courses about it instead of just doing it full-time themselves?
Good question. Warns the success rate is often.
Near rock bottom for the average person trying them based on those slick promises. So the takeaway is, be super skeptical. Do your own thorough research before buying into any promise of fast, easy money.
So wrapping this all up, the main message from this source isn't really about some secret trick for getting rich in a downturn.
No, it's much more grounded. It's about recognizing these 8 common ways people undermine their own finances. Pitfalls that exist anytime, really, but become extra dangerous when the economy's shaky.
Right. Success, according to this source, seems less about luck and more about making conscious, informed choices, avoiding mistakes driven by fear or not understanding things properly or just getting complacent.
Yeah, building that solid foundation by not falling into these traps. The source suggests that just being aware of them puts you in a better position.
The idea being you can potentially win while others are losing, simply because you're avoiding those common errors.
That seems to be the core argument, yes.
So, for everyone listening, as you think about these 8 traps we've discussed from the source, maybe reflect on which one feels like the biggest potential challenge for you personally.
Is it the fear of risk?
Mm.
Maybe investing without full understanding? Or
Mhm.
perhaps lifestyle creep? And then maybe think, what's one small, concrete step you could take, maybe even this week, to start steering clear of that particular trap?
Just one thing you could change or start doing differently right now to shore up your own financial footing.